Mia, a struggling barista working long hours to make ends meet, often saw the same faces at the cafe. One cold morning he noticed a man shivering outside the door, clearly homeless. Feeling a sense of empathy, Mia quietly offered the man a warm cup of coffee, never expecting anything in return. Hi everyone, welcome to Kindness Talks. Today I'm excited to share a new story with you. The wind outside was relentless, howling through the narrow streets and sending icy chills through anyone caught in its path. Inside the cozy corner cafe, the warmth of steaming coffee and soft chatter offered a stark contrast to the bitter cold. Behind the counter, Mia busily worked her shift, preparing cappuccinos, lattes, and warm pastries for the steady stream of customers escaping the freezing weather. Mia had been a barista at the cafe for 2 years. She loved her job, not just for the coffee but because she enjoyed connecting with people. Her bright smile and genuine warmth often brought light to the otherwise mundane routines of her patrons. Today, however, her usual cheer was shadowed by something else, something she saw through the frosted glass window. Outside, leaning against the cafe wall, stood a man who looked completely out of place. His thin, ragged coat barely covered his trembling frame, and his shoes were so worn they seemed more like paper than leather. He wasn't holding a sign or asking for money, he simply stood there, his eyes darting between the cafe's interior and the icy street. Mia couldn't ignore him. Between serving customers, her gaze kept drifting to the window. She noticed how he tried to rub his hands together for warmth and how his shoulders hunched against the biting wind. He wasn't just cold, he looked defeated. When the line finally cleared, Mia grabbed a fresh cup, filled it with steaming hot coffee, and added a bagel to a paper bag. Ignoring her co-workers' puzzled looks, she slipped out from behind the counter and headed for the door. "Excuse me," she said gently as she approached the man. His eyes widened, startled, as though he wasn't used to being spoken to. "I brought this for you," she continued, holding out the coffee and bagel. "It's really cold today, and I thought you could use something warm." The man hesitated, his gaze shifting from her face to the steaming cup. His hands trembled slightly as he reached out. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice raspy, almost disbelieving. "Of course," Mia said with a warm smile. "It's on the house." As he took the coffee, his eyes filled with emotion. "Thank you," he whispered. "God bless you." Mia watched him as he took a seat on the bench outside, clutching the cup as though it were a lifeline. She didn't know his story, but she didn't need to. To her, it was a small act of kindness, something anyone would do. The day went on, and Mia quickly forgot about the incident. Customers came and went, the cafe buzzed with life, and she continued her shift as usual. It wasn't until the evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, that something unexpected happened. The door to the cafe opened, and 3 men in sharp suits walked in. Their polished shoes clacked against the tiled floor, and their presence immediately turned heads. They scanned the room before one of them approached the counter. "Excuse me," the man said, his tone polite but firm. "Is Mia working today?" Mia froze, startled. She stepped forward cautiously. "That's me. Can I help you?" The man smiled. "Actually, we're here to thank you." Mia's brow furrowed. "Thank me? For what?" The man turned toward the door, where the shivering man from earlier now stood. But he looked completely different. He was cleaned up, wearing a proper coat, and his face, once shadowed by despair, now shone with gratitude. "This is Robert," the suited man explained. "He's my father. We've been searching for him for weeks. He's been struggling with homelessness, and when he disappeared, we were desperate to find him. Today, he finally reached out to us, because of you." Mia's breath caught. "Me?" she asked, incredulous. "Yes," the man said. "He told us about the barista who showed him kindness when he had nothing. Your small act gave him hope. It reminded him that there are still good people in the world. That hope gave him the courage to call us." Robert stepped forward, his voice steady now. "Mia, you didn't just give me coffee. You reminded me that I still matter. Thank you." Mia's eyes filled with tears. She had thought it was such a small thing, a cup of coffee, a bagel, but to Robert, it had been a lifeline. Word of Mia's kindness spread throughout the town. The cafe became a hub for generosity, with customers donating warm clothing and food for those in need. Mia continued her work with renewed purpose, realizing that even the smallest acts of compassion could create ripples far beyond what she could see. Sometimes, she would sit by the window, watching the world outside, and think about Robert. She wondered how many others, just like him, needed nothing more than a kind word or a warm cup of coffee to remind them that they weren't invisible. And so, she made it her mission to never let an opportunity for kindness pass her by, knowing now, more than ever, that a little warmth could change the world.